Okay, as soon as the whistle's over, I'll start. Everybody's ready.
Everyone's ready. I'm just going to make the announcement to anyone who's joined in from the public to please mute yourself so that we don't have any of the background noises. And at such time that we open it to the public, we'll certainly take the time to allow you to speak. Anytime you're ready.
All right. Good evening. I'd like to call the regular Borough Council meeting of February 8th, 2021 to order. This meeting has been properly advertised in the Home News Tribune of January 13th, 2021, according to Public Law 1975, Chapter 231. Due to COVID-19, this meeting is being held by means of use of electronic communication equipment via online video conference provided by Zoom.us. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Farkas.
Here.
Councilman Ligotti.
Here.
Councilwoman Neubauer.
Here.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Here.
Councilman Peretti.
Here.
Councilman Zambrana.
Here.
All present, and I believe all your professionals are here as well.
Thank you. Now we will have a moment of silence followed by a salute to the flag. Start with the silence, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next we will move on to approval of minutes. First, we have the minutes from January 25th, 2021. What is your pleasure?
Move the minutes be approved.
Thank you.
Any comments, corrections? We have a motion by Councilman Ligotti, second by Councilman Zambrana. I guess now I should have said comment, correction. Sorry. If not, will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Farkas.
Aye.
Councilman Ligotti.
Aye.
Councilwoman Neubauer.
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Aye.
Councilman Peretti.
Aye.
Councilman Zambrana.
Aye.
The motion carries to pass the minutes of January 25th.
Next, we will move on to comments from the audience on resolutions. If any member of the public wishes to speak on any of the resolutions, please identify yourself to the clerk and say your name and address for the record. These comments are limited to resolutions listed on the agenda. Please note, the resolutions are now available on the website, bundled behind the agenda so you can see them in their entirety prior to the meeting.
You want to raise your hand by the computer or unmute yourself and I try to identify yourself at this point if you have any comment regarding any of the resolutions, and sort of scanning our list and pages, but I don't see anyone at this point.
This is John Curley. Can you hear me?
I can, Mr. Curley. Did you have a comment regarding
good.
one of the resolutions for this evening?
Well, I have a question about the list of resolutions. We received a copy of a letter from an attorney representing Arisa Urban Renewal, LLC, indicating that there would be a resolution or matter before the council this evening, but there's nothing on the agenda that reads to the company or to the, it's involved in the development of affordable housing. There's no reference to affordable housing and reference. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Mr. Vignola?
Mr. Curley was cutting in and out, but I don't know the letter to which he is speaking regarding a resolution that I don't know anything about. So a little in the dark on it. Mr. Curley, what's the date of the letter?
The letter is dated February 5, 2021. It's from Craig Giannetti, and it deals with Arisa Urban Renewal LLC.
Okay. I was not,
Now-
am I copied on that letter?
Is it possible that the closed session? I believe you are.
You believe I am? Because I don't recall receiving anything from Mr.
It
Giannetti.
has to do with the appearances before Judge McCluskey.
Okay, I have not made an appearance before Judge McCloskey. We are represented by separate counsel in that. So there is no resolution on this evening for that.
And therefore, there's not going to be any action taken with respect to the letter from Mr. Giannetti?
I can't speak to what's going to happen. I don't even know what the letter is, sir. So I'm at a bit of a loss because I don't have a copy of it and I don't know its content. You have indicated I'm copied on it, but I don't know how it was forwarded, and the 5th is last Friday. So
Right. But there's nothing on the agenda, there's nothing on the council's agenda of resolutions that we're going to act on tonight.
this evening.
Right.
Well, it came through e-courts.
Okay, then if it came through e-courts, I have not made an appearance in that because we're represented.
Is there anything that would be acted upon in a closed session?
There is nothing that will be acted upon in a closed session. They will not be taking any action coming out of it.
All right. Well, I represent Borough Development, LLC. I think you are aware of that.
I am well aware.
We will not make any comment because we haven't seen a resolution and we haven't seen anything except for Mr. Giannetti's letter. And obviously he is representing a different private party. So he is not acting on behalf of the town in sending that letter. But I'm glad you were able to resolve this, that there is no resolution pending on the agenda, which I was able to confirm. And secondly, that there is no resolution or action that will be taken at a closed session at tonight's meeting. If that's fair to say, then I will withdraw from the meeting.
There will be no action taken as a result of the closed session, and there is no resolution on the agenda. And Mr. Curley, I know you know how to find me, and if in the future you have a question, please feel free to reach out ahead of time because we might be able to avoid some of the confusion and understanding exactly, the nature of your appearance this evening.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you.
You got it. Thank you.
Thanks. Excuse me. Seeing no other comments on resolutions, I will go back to my script. All right, so now we will go on to bills and claims. Will the clerk please read it by title only, the bill resolution 58-2021?
Authorizing the payment of bills, claims, and statements against the Borough of Milltown in the total amount of $3,088,704.99 for Resolution 058-2021.
For the reading of this resolution, what is your pleasure?
Move that this resolution be adopted.
Second. I have a motion by Council President Farkas, second by Councilwoman Newbauer. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Farkas,
Aye.
Councilman Gotti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Newbauer.
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell,
Aye.
Councilman Ferretti,
Aye.
and Councilman Zambrana.
Aye.
Motion carries to pay the bills.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to introduction of resolutions. When voting on resolutions, all matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and having been reviewed by the Borough Council will be enacted by one motion. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any council member, and if so removed, will be treated as a separate matter. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by a certification of availability of funds. Does anyone want to pull any resolutions from the consent agenda this evening? Seeing none, there being no request to pull any resolutions, will the clerk please read the consent resolution?
Whereas pursuant to the rules of council, the council may establish a consent agenda for any regular or special meeting. And whereas the Borough Clerk has posted a consent agenda for this meeting. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Milltown, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, that the consent agenda previously prepared by the Borough Clerk be approved without the necessity of having the individual resolutions read by the Borough Clerk.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move that the resolution be adopted.
Second. I have a motion by Councilman Ligotti, second by Councilwoman Newbauer. Will the clerk please call the roll?
And this is a roll call to adopt the resolutions 59, 2021 through 65, 2021. Council President Farkas,
Aye.
Councilman Ligotti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Newbauer,
Aye.
Councilman O'Donnell,
Aye.
Councilman Peretti,
Aye.
Councilman Zambrana.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, we will move on to the council professional and mayor's reports. We'll start with the Department of Finance, Administration, and Planning. Councilman Phil Zambrana.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Finance Administration and Planning Committee met last Wednesday, February 3rd. The committee is made up of myself, Councilwoman O'Donnell, and Council President Farkas. Also in attendance was our CFO, BA Jeanette Larison, and she provided us with a quick summary of the 2021 budget process. So we are in the beginnings of the budget process, and we're able to do this because Jeanette actually set this motion this progress in motion late last year so that we could get started a lot earlier this year. At this time, all the departments have forwarded their budget requests, and we're going to be scheduling meetings. Jeanette's going to be scheduling meetings, and those meetings will be held in the next couple of weeks, either in person or via Zoom link as time allows. We look forward to finalizing the 21 budget by the end of February, hopefully, and hopefully be able to present a budget by the last meeting in March of 2021. Jeanette and I continue to follow up with our auditor of record for the 2019 year, and I'm cautiously optimistic that we'll receive a final audit for 2019 by the end of February. Cautiously optimistic. Once that audit is received and presented, Jeanette and the committee, along with our auditor of record of 2020, will work to finalize a final audit for 2020 by the end of June of this year. So that concludes my finance report, Madam Mayor. I have just a quick note from the 4th of July committee. 4th of July committee meets the first Wednesday of every month, and they met last Monday, which was the 1st. They are hard at work on planning this year's event and hope to have a brief presentation at a future council meeting. And lastly, the revitalization committee, I hope to have a Zoom meeting tomorrow. Revitalization committee meets on the second Tuesday of every month, and all are welcome. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll move on to the Department of Public Safety. Councilman Nick Ligotti.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a few reports tonight. First one will be the Milltown Fire Department monthly report, January 2020. Drills 4, meetings 1, fire calls 7, one of which was a mutual aid call to South River. Special assignments 2, work details 4, total incidents 18. Membership, waiting for one applicant's letter of him being in good standings when he left District 1 in East Brunswick. Some members have received their COVID vaccine, one member currently in quarantine. Training, bloodborne pathogens, hazardous communications training completed. Cross-training with the Milltown Rescue Squad on their new Stryker stretchers. Vehicle maintenance, engine 62 and engine 72 both returned after being out for repairs. Equipment maintenance, extractor removed from Main Street Firehouse and moved to the new firehouse. Building and grounds, continue to move and clean out the old firehouse on successive weekends. Membership is doing their best to meet the February 15th deadline. The New Jersey State Fire Museum members took a large amount of donations to be displayed at their museum. 1947 fire engine was donated to the State Museum. It will be towed in the next few weeks. When restored and displayed, it will bear Milltown's name. Members are needed. Candidates interested in joining the Milltown Fire Department are encouraged to stop by the firehouse Monday nights at 6:30 p.m. or email joinmilltownfire, all one word, @gmail.com. Respectfully, Stephen Battaglia, Chief of the Milltown Fire Department. My next report, Madam Mayor, will be the Milltown Senior Center report. The Senior Center remains closed at this time. Increased calls for COVID-19 vaccines. Instead of calling the Milltown Senior Center, you can get all the information you need if you call 855-568-0545 for the New Jersey State appointments and availability of vaccinations. Or you can go to the website for COVID vaccine at covidvaccine.nj.gov to get started on registering for your vaccine. Meals on Wheels were interrupted for 2 days during the snowstorm. Recipients have also received shelf-stable meals for just these times when service is interrupted. Some seniors are in the process of making Valentine and St. Patrick's Day cards for those homebound seniors. As always, please contact the Senior Center Director, Debbie Cuddy, for any questions at 732-296-0681. And then lastly, Madam Mayor, just an announcement. Milltown's Assemblyman Joe Danielson will be having another Cup of Joe event on debt management in difficult times with a guest speaker on February 10th at 7 p.m. To register, please send your name, email address, and contact number to danielsoncupofjoe@gmail.com. And that concludes my report for tonight, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Nick. So I had a couple questions addressed to me too about the vaccines from the senior center. And, we gave out the information at the last meeting, but I don't think people realize, I think part of the reason they're contacting the senior center is because they're frustrated trying to get an appointment, right? But the local, the municipal governments don't have any supply of vaccines. That's all handled by the state, right? That's why they direct you to the state website and phone number.
That's correct. And I'll repeat it just so everybody can hear it again. The phone number to call, and they are very helpful if you call and they'll guide you on what you need to do. And that phone number is 855-568-0545. And the website to get started on where you stand as far as availability for a vaccine and making an appointment for a vaccine is covidvaccine.nj.gov.
Thanks, Nick. Okay, next we will move on to the Department of Utilities, Council President Randy Farkas.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We'll start off with the electric utility report. Under the heading of inspections, the substation was inspected daily throughout the month of January. Substation maintenance. Battery maintenance was performed. Batteries were inspected and topped off with distilled water where needed. General department training. 10 days were spent training the new meter reader. Digger derrick training was provided for the department, which included handouts, safety precautions, and setting strategies. A pole was installed in our training area as a hands-on exercise. Rigging hand signal training was provided in conjunction with the digger derrick training, and a handout was provided as well. Apprentice training performed at our training area. Use of bucket truck, proper PPE, and general safety. Jib hoist operations and safety. Pole framing, including installation of double cross arms, fuse cutouts, lightning arresters, grounding and installation of a transformer. Grounding theory was discussed. Apprentice training in the field. CDL training by an outside contractor, which resulted in obtaining a New Jersey CDL. Use of ladders and ladder safety. Hooking and connecting a de-energized service drop to a structure. Daily line work. Removal of holiday decorations. Replaced 5 defective electric meters. Repaired 2 broken house service drops. Installed 2 new house service drops. Performed shutdown of building 60A on Ford Avenue to facilitate the replacement of a meter pan by a contractor. Also repaired streetlights on West Lakewood, Chestnut, North Main Street, and Riva Avenue. Under tree work, removed hazardous branches on Elmwood, Colthau, and Ford Avenue. Performed tree trimming on various sections of Janet Court as a result of an earlier inspection. Performed emergency tree trimming on Riva Avenue to prevent damage to a service drop. Removed branches on West Foch Avenue as a result of a shade tree replacement. Under miscellaneous, there is ongoing moving of materials from the old garage to the new garage and organizing.
Oh, the nose was wet. It was wet and cold. Here.
Just give me 1 second. I'm trying to mute. And if you could please mute yourself. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Go ahead and continue, Randy.
Sure. Water and Sewer Department report. Along with all scheduled pump checks, markouts, and daily work orders, the department has the following report. Water meter changes are ongoing with an average of approximately 15 to 20 per week. This program will continue until completed. The department had a sewer issue behind Borough Hall and was addressed in the proper manner. Repairs have been made in the chlorine room at Elkins Lane, and a new 120-gallon tank has been installed. Pump number 3 has been removed for repairs. Church Street Pump Station had the water seal unit evaluated for repairs, and parts have been ordered to complete the repairs of the system. Training is ongoing with the employees in all pump station operations. And as always, please check channel 15 and milltownnj.org for water and sewer updates. And that concludes my report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Randy, I got the congratulations letter from the state showing our grant of $750,000 that we talked about last year. It came officially from the state. So is that something that the Utilities Committee is working on with the CME to?
We have had multiple discussions on that, Madam Mayor.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we will move on to the Department of Public Works and Recycling, Councilwoman Anna Neubauer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and good evening, everyone. Before going into the report, I just wanted to say, because this report was obviously drafted before this weekend, I wanted to say how much everyone on the council really appreciates the DPW over this past weekend's storm and last week's storm. And I'm sure we're going to appreciate you even more, because I just heard that we apparently have 2 more storms coming up this week. So thank you, DPW, for all of the hard work that you guys do. The DPW, they were taking hour-long breaks and napping in between plowing, and they really worked hard to get the roads clean. And honestly, comparatively to where I have to drive into the city every morning, compared to that, Milltown was clean compared to New Brunswick and Riders Lane. So really amazing job. And we just want to thank you for all of your hard work. For the DPW report, I have, along with all regularly scheduled curbside collections, the DPW has the following to report. Pothole repair has taken place throughout the whole town and it is ongoing as needed. Sign repair and replacement has taken place in various locations throughout the town. There has been minor roof repairs that have taken place at the senior center and trees have been pruned in the area. A blockage in the stream behind Northbrook Drive has been removed and the waterway opened up. The DPW staff has sanitized Borough Hall and the Milltown Public Library. Tree and brush removal has taken place on JFK Drive, across from the pool, and on Northbrook Drive at Brook Park. Trees have been removed on Hill Street, Michael Ave, Carina Drive, and DeBonis Drive. A reminder to all residents, please follow collection days for metal, electronics, and bulk. Please help the DPW keep our town clean. The first Wednesday of the month is metal. The second Wednesday of the month is TV and electronics. And the third Wednesday is non-metal bulk. Please watch Channel 15 and check out milltownnj.org for DPW updates. And as for committees, I am not sure. I know that a couple of people have already heard, but the Green Team was awarded their bronze level certification through Sustainable Jersey, which is something they've been working on for years. So I wanted to congratulate them. We are actually having our first meeting after finding out about the news on Wednesday. So more to come on that. And in addition to that, we are also hosting our first community event. It is called the Great Backyard Bird Count. And if you're interested, we are looking for volunteers to spend at least 15 minutes during the weekend of the 12th through the 15th, watching birds in their own backyards. And if you want more information, we're going to have, Dawn is actually here. She might actually be able to provide more information on how to sign up. There's a link, but I don't know how to, it's a long link and I don't want to say it over Zoom. Maybe I'll post it in the chat. And that's all. You're muted, Madam Mayor.
Sorry, I was on mute. Thanks, Anna. I said when we get to the audience comments, maybe Dawn can weigh in too. And I wanted to congratulate, and I have actually a little something I got about the Green Team, but that's excellent news. Next, we will move on to the Department of Environmental Health and Social Services, Councilwoman Margaret O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mayor. The Environmental Commission noted the Bronze Award and supported it and wanted to know what it's going to take to achieve the next level of silver. So very supportive of the efforts of the Green Team and are also supporting the same backyard bird count. They'll be in touch with the borough about a request to use the backyard, if you will, of the Schwendeman estate possibly. I'm not sure if conditions will permit with snow and mud, but there was a desire to find some species and identify them there. Other things that came up at the Environmental Commission were there's a lot of buzz about the stormwater ordinance that is on our agenda for the council tonight. Some general planning and zoning discussion. A letter came to the borough about a butterfly garden. We'll have to get that a little bit better circulated, but conditions don't permit some of the work that they'd like to be done toward that, which includes removal of invasive species. And there'll be also some information forthcoming. It was kind of hot off the presses as this meeting was beginning about some lead testing kits that have been made available to the Environmental Commission through Rutgers and how the Commission would like to distribute them to residents who were interested. So more on that will follow. The next meeting of the Environmental Commission will be February 24th. It is always on the fourth Wednesday. The Board of Health had its first meeting in January since prior to COVID, which I did not realize was the case. But health officials were busy throughout the county and the state, and it's finally reaching a point where they can address some other concerns. One of the things that the board wanted to make everyone aware of was a rabies clinic. It is still on the schedule and obviously conditions pending, but for May 25th, which is Tuesday, the location is to be determined, but we'll keep in close touch on that. Anyone who had to not apply for their pet license on a timely basis, late fees are being waived because we recognize that there were difficulties in getting veterinary appointments for routine care. It was limited to emergency care during some of the time of COVID. The Board of Health meets on fourth Tuesdays, so the next meeting is actually February 23rd. The Library Board will meet tomorrow, but does meet consistently second Tuesdays. The librarian from the schools shared information with the council and some other VIPs, if you will, about participating in Read Across America. And the library continues to have good circulation of materials and outreach despite the fact that the building is closed, and did want people to be aware that some of the services that they used to walk in and obtain, such as that of a notary, is still available by appointment. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Margaret. The Read Across America is virtual this year, so we all can record ourselves to read to the school children if you'd like. So I encourage everyone to get involved. It's always been a lot of fun to go to school, so it'll be hopefully fun to record as well. And next we will move to the Department of Recreation, Councilman James Peretti.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. From SAC before and after school childcare is still suspended at this time. We were going
James, can I ask you to just turn up your volume a little bit?
Does that help me if I'm speaking?
Yeah, that's great. That's perfect. Thank you.
No problem. So SAC before and after school childcare is still suspended at this time. We're going to reevaluate opening in March. We will update regarding the Milltown Summer SAC program as information becomes available. For recreation, we want to thank everyone who generously wrote cards to our seniors. The response was overwhelming and is very much appreciated. They will be delivered this week, socially distanced, of course. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We just reminded that all employment applications for part-time summer seasonal employment are due to the Recreation Department by Friday, February 19th. Positions available are posted on the website for the Milltown Borough Pool and Albert Avenue Summer Rec Camp. Please note that all applications can be filled out online and submitted via email to the borough. Due to the pandemic, there will be no employment applications available in person at the Recreation Department. All applications must be submitted electronically to the Rec Department or the Borough Clerk's office. Spring soccer is set to start on April 10th, and spring tennis is set to begin on April 16th. Please mark your calendars. Online registration has not opened as of yet, but we will send a constant contact, website newsflash, and Nixle out to the community once it is opened. We will also be offering adult and children's yoga this spring. This will be an outside class beginning in April. Registration will open once details have been finalized. Look for information regarding various sports clinics that will be offered throughout the spring, beginning as early as for ages 2 and up. We are looking forward to having our youth back on the fields and courts. Please also note that we are still accepting non-perishable food donations for our Milltown neighbors in need, as well as for the Middlesex County Food Bank, which also supports Milltown residents. You may drop items off at Borough Hall and place them in the green bins in the hallway of the main entrance during normal business hours. Please remember, masks are required to enter the building. Please do not leave food in the police entrance vestibule. We want to thank everyone for their patience during this time and continue to pray for everyone's safety and well-being. And that concludes the recreation report, but I do have 2 committee reports. First, I'll start with the Milltown Historic Preservation Committee, which met on Thursday, January 28th. To summarize the meeting, we had our reorg and a couple agenda items that I'll summarize tonight. We established the criteria for the determination of historic sites within the borough, including but not limited to the age of the structure, architectural nature of the structure, and particular historical significance. Plan is to provide recommendations to the Borough Council as to recommend utilization or preservation of the identified historic sites. There'll be made recommendations to the Planning Board and Board of Adjustment as to property preservation, utilization of historic sites, particularly a draft proposal for historic preservation demolition provisions. There's actually already been some conversations with the borough planner regarding this, and there'll be some steps coming out of the Planning and Zoning Board from that. And finally, the Milltown Historic Preservation Committee would like to move forward with their biannual update to the Borough Council on historic sites. I'll be obviously acting as liaison with Mimi and Jeanette and get that on this agenda for one of the March meetings. And then my second committee that I wanted to report on was the Human Relations Committee, which we met on February 2nd. This was our inaugural meeting. So really spent a lot of time kind of defining the goals and the scope of this committee. But a quick summary of the meeting: we had our committee member introductions. We went over the role of the Human Relations Committee. We also completed our reorganization. And as I mentioned, we were discussing our goals and objectives, and some of the key topics I definitely want to hit on to summarize to the council and to the audience was our main points were how the committee should highlight all forms of diversity and give more of a voice to underrepresented groups. We want to have a higher level of government accountability, and we want to have educational material and programs to help community learn more about inclusion and diversity throughout our town and beyond. So there were some takeaways around those topics, and we look forward to meeting next month with hopefully some more guidance around communication and some materials we can publish to the council and to the large audience. And that concludes my multiple reports.
Great. Thank you, James. Okay, next we will move to our administrator report, Jeanette Larison.
I have no report for you today.
Thank you, Jeanette. Next, we'll move on to our engineer report. I see both gentlemen from CME. How are you?
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you very much. I've asked Lou to join me tonight. He's going to make a presentation regarding the stormwater management and control ordinance. But before we do that, there's two items I have. First is that obviously work on Tracy Drive is currently suspended due to weather. We will keep you posted about a start date. The second thing we have is really to talk about the administrator has asked us to look through our old files. We had done some analysis early on about athletic field lighting on Gloria Bradford Park. And basically our notes indicate that there was a question that came up from the manufacturer of the lighting pole foundations, which requested soils information regarding the structural ability for the soils to support the poles. And that's where it ended, and nothing had been done since then. So we resurrected some of the effort and basically what would happen is you would advance two borings about 50 feet down below the existing grade in order to determine what kind of soils existed underneath where the poles are going to go. That work is estimated to cost about $3,100, and we plan to proceed subject to direction tonight. Once that soils information is obtained, you would then utilize it to determine whether a special foundation had to be constructed or whether or not the standard foundation that the pole manufacturer provides can be utilized. These poles are very common. They're basically a pole company called Musco Lighting. They're very standard in the recreation industry. I'm sure you folks have heard of them. And I believe you do have some already in Milltown. This site is particularly concerning because of its history and where it's located within the borough. In any event, there is a co-op which allows you to purchase these things through a cooperative program for purchasing, which your administrator is familiar with. In fact, I know tonight you adopted an application for a co-op for water sewer facilities. So once we get the results, we'll appear back before the council, advise you of the status, and let you know how we made out. We'll hope for the best. Worst case, you might have to put some piles under the foundation or enlarge the foundation, but we won't know until we get the results. The last thing we have for you tonight is this amendment to the stormwater management control ordinance. Actually, it's a replacement of the ordinance. I've asked Lou to do that because he handles this directly for us in Milltown and interacts directly with your public works administrator, who is your designated person in the borough that handles it. So Lou, without further discussion, take it away.
Thanks, Mike. Good evening, Mayor, council members. Just to give a little background on the stormwater management control ordinance. The ordinance or the regulations were first adopted in 2006 as a condition to the initial municipal stormwater general permit that was issued to the borough by the DEP. That permit was once updated in 2009 and most recently in 2018 was reissued. A condition of the reissued permit from 2018 is that the borough adopt a amended stormwater control ordinance that's more in line with the current DEP regulations for stormwater. The ordinance as drafted is basically in compliance with the model ordinance that the DEP has provided to the municipalities. The biggest changes in the requirements are the requirement to use what's called green infrastructure. Green infrastructure is defined as the treatment of stormwater runoff through infiltration of the subsoil, treatment of stormwater runoff through infiltration by vegetation and soil, or the storing of stormwater runoff for reuse. That is something that's different than your current code. In addition, where you would normally have one primary stormwater management facility, like a big detention basin, they're now requiring that you provide, or developers provide, or the municipality provides smaller stormwater management facilities distributed around the site where the stormwater management is being provided. And the theory is that that more closely mimics nature, where the rainfall comes down and infiltrates into the ground, all over, rather than in one designated area. It's important to note that these regulations will apply to all private improvements as well as municipal projects. And the ordinance does have a section for waivers from strict conformance for roadway and public pedestrian access project. And it gives a set of proofs, basically, that the borough would need to go to provide that exemption. One option that the DEP provided to the municipalities was the definition of what a major development is. And this ordinance applies to major developments. So the first definition is a little complicated. It basically defines it as the disturbance of one or more acres of land since February 2nd of 2004, the creation of 1/4 acre or more of regulated impervious surface since February 2nd, 2004, the creation of 1/4 acre or more of regulated motor vehicle surface since March 2nd, 2021, or a combination of the regulated impervious surface and regulated motor vehicle surface. The second option for the definition that they provide is more in line with the residential site improvement standards. And it simply says, defines the major development as a development or multiple developments that individually or collectively result in the disturbance of one or more acres of land since February 2nd, 2004. Now that latter definition is more closely aligned to the definition you have in your current code, and it would provide for a more uniform standard and across the board, basically for residential, commercial, and public improvements. So the ordinance as drafted for consideration tonight has been written around that second definition, the more simplified version. And lastly, should the mayor and council introduce this ordinance tonight, it will need to be submitted to the county for their review and concurrence prior to final adoption. And that concludes the discussion.
That's all we have now. Any questions, please don't hesitate. We're here.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Lou. Anybody in the council have any questions?
We should thank the borough clerk and your borough attorney for their assistance in preparing this, because it was quite an undertaking.
It looks like it, yes.
Yes.
Madam Mayor, just so we don't get the questions later, I know that Mr. McClellan quoted a price of about $3,100 to get those holes bored down to see where the foundation would go. Maybe not a question for CME, but maybe a question for Jeanette to just put the residents at ease that this money is already accounted for and it doesn't cost the borough or the taxpayer any money.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. Mike, when would you be able to do that? You'd have to wait until the spring?
No, if you give us a go ahead tonight, we're going to get started right away. Probably about 2 weeks.
Huh. Okay.
There's some analysis needs to be done, but the actual boring is in about 2 weeks.
The snow doesn't make any difference?
I'm sorry, Pete.
It doesn't make any difference if there's 2 feet of snow on the ground?
We'll have to scrape that off.
Okay, thank you.
But we understand you want to try and get them done for the springtime, so we plan to try and work around the winter.
Okay, thank you.
Do we need to do that in the form of a motion, or can we just do a consensus?
Consensus. It's a, right, Pete?
Yeah, you're essentially, he's the borough engineer. He's just indicating something that needs to be done. He's advising you of what it is, what the cost is, and kind of asking you that, to acknowledge that he's going to do that. I think more in line would be, if you don't want him to do it, say, hey, wait, no. But unless he gets a hey, wait, no, he's probably going to proceed.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right.
Okay. All right. There you have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will move on to our borough attorney report, Mr. Peter Vignola.
I had a whole musical presentation over the stormwater ordinance, but Lou stole my thunder. So just have to skip it this time. The one thing I will add, Lou noted that we do need to send this out to the county for review. So if the board is so inclined to adopt, the council is so inclined to adopt this on first reading this evening, we would ask that the hearing be scheduled for roughly a month from tonight, 4 weeks from tonight. Actually, yeah, 4 weeks from tonight on the 8th of March rather than 2 weeks.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Thank you.
You got it.
So yeah, I have the language for it while I'm reading the introduction of the ordinance. If there's anything that maybe we're going to change the date, but if anything else needs to be tweaked, let me know.
You got it.
Okay. So now it's my comments. So I wanted to follow up on what Anna said and thank the DPW for a tremendous job. It was quite a storm we had last week, and yesterday, working through Super Bowl Sunday, I was out early this morning and the roads were really clear and safe, and it's much appreciated. Not only to them, I mean, they did a fantastic job, but to all the other borough workers, to the utilities, police, fire, everybody that works at Borough Hall. It was, things went really well considering what a tremendous storm that was. So much appreciation to all of them. And the other thing I did want to follow up on is the Bronze Award for Sustainable Jersey, which we can thank all of the members of the Green Team. As Anna said, they've been working really hard for a really long time. So they should be proud of themselves, and a big congratulations and thank you from the Borough of Milltown. I did get something today that says that the Sustainable Jersey representatives announced that Milltown has met the rigorous requirements to achieve Sustainable Jersey certification. Milltown is one of 55 towns that have attained certification in 2020, and will be honored at the Sustainable Jersey Virtual Awards Luncheon on Thursday, March 11th, 2021. Sustainable Jersey's participating communities represent over 81% of the state's municipalities. So I couldn't be happier for the Green Team and for the Borough of Milltown as a whole. That is excellent news. And then I had one more other thing to bring before the council. I'm just going to look for the email while I talk to you. I got an email from our Director of Recreation last week, and it's dealing with, excuse me one second, with a request to put some signs in Borough, Gloria Bradford Park. I'll just, and the quick synopsis is it came from Mayor Bradford's daughter, who is part of an initiative to bring awareness to people who are in assisted living or nursing homes. And one of the things that has happened due to COVID is that these people have lost a lot of contact because their family members and friends are no longer able to visit. So there is I believe it's nationwide initiative to put some signs up to bring awareness to the isolation and the pain that causes not only the people in these facilities who have seen some decline from not interacting with folks, but also for their family members as well. So I just wanted to put it out to the council. I believe, and I don't have the exact dates, it's a 2-day thing to post signs all around. But so she requested that we put them in Gloria Bradford Park. And since that's borough property, I just wanted to, see if anybody had any objection to going along with that. I think it was March 1st to 3rd. If it's okay with everyone, then I'll get back to our Director of Recreation and we can support folks that are having a tough time and our former Mayor Bradford as well.
What kind of signs?
It's just like signs that go in the ground, like the signs you see at election time. And it says, that's what I was looking for, the
names
picture
of family members, and people purchase them for to honor their names.
Thank you, James. But yeah, but the main part says, and that's what I'm looking for. I'll find it in a second.
And Trina, while you're looking at it, my one question was, and I think it was, I did see a copy of that letter, was that Diane Bradford the organization would do all the put up and take down, no really impact us besides the use of borough property display.
Right.
Okay.
I found it. So the sign, yeah, so it says isolation kills too, and then it has the names of people that have been isolated can be written in underneath.
Okay.
So any comments? Sort of like the one before, if somebody says, hey, no, that's fine. If we don't hear anything, then they go ahead.
Yeah, let's go with it.
Okay. All right, and that concludes my report. So now we will move on to the introduction of the ordinance. There will be no public input on introduction of ordinance 21-1495. The introduction summary will be published in the Home News Tribune on February 12th, 2021. And the second reading, public hearing, and final adoption will be considered on March 8th. Full copies of the ordinance will be posted on the Borough website, on the bulletin board at the municipal building, and available at no cost in the office of the municipal clerk between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m., Monday through Friday. Mimi, do you want to read the ordinance by title, or do I do that?
Yes, I would like to read that into the record.
Okay.
For 21-1495, an ordinance amending the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Milltown, Chapter 29, Stormwater Management, Article 1, Stormwater Management and Control.
Okay, so So I have a motion and a second to introduce ordinance 21-1495.
You're muted, Nick.
Nick, you muted.
My apologies, I'm so sorry. I make a motion that the resolution be adopted on first reading, published according to law, and that the public hearing be held at our next regularly scheduled council meeting on Monday. Mimi, help me out.
February
3/8.
22nd.
Well, it'll be March 8th.
March 8th at 7 p.m. via Zoom council meeting.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilman Ligotti, second by Councilwoman O'Donnell. Is any please call the roll?
Council President Farkas,
Aye.
Councilman Ligotti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Newbauer,
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell,
Aye.
Councilman Peretti,
Aye.
and Councilman Sobrano.
Aye.
Motion carries to introduce.
Thank you. Okay, now we will move on to old business. Does any member of the council have any old business they would like to bring before the council this evening? Seeing none, I will ask if any member of the council has any new business they'd like to bring before the council this evening. And seeing none, we will move on to audience comments. The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. The council will respect the public's time by refraining from any comment until the speaker is finished. It should be further noted that public comment portion is not structured as a question and answer session. If the member of the public has any questions they seek answers to, an appointment can be made with the appropriate office during regular business hours or with a member of council during any meeting hours. Please state your name and address for the record and follow the instructions by the clerk if you would like to speak. Someone has his hand up already?
Yeah, I'll acknowledge Michael. How are you this evening? You're on mute, Michael.
You're still muted, Michael.
Got it.
Michael,
Thank you.
how are
Thank you
you?
very much. Good evening.
And Michael, for the record, can you state your full name and address?
Yes, Michael Shikarjan, 19 Yarnell Avenue, and Chair of the Environmental Commission. So I just wanted to mention that and continue with what Councilwoman O'Donnell said, that we did have a discussion about the new stormwater management ordinance, and we do have some substantive comments. So we would like to share them at some point. And now that we've had the first reading, we've seen the borough's ordinance, and we've had the first reading, if you can reach out to me and let me know how you would like to receive these comments, so that they can be effectively considered, please let me know.
Michael, we will. Someone will, with either through Margaret or through the clerk. We'll get back to you, and you have till the 8th, and I know the commission will meet again later this month, so someone will get back to you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much then.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Does any other comments or questions from the audience this evening?
I don't see any hand raises, but if anyone else would like to speak, please demute yourself and identify yourself for the record. But otherwise, I believe I don't see anyone right now.
Okay. Seeing none.
Hi, sorry.
Hi, Courtney.
Hi, Courtney Williams, 318 Clay Street. Newly appointed to the HRC. And just in the spirit of that, I just want to follow up on a lot of the points that James brought up, is that we're really
Courtney, I'm going to interrupt you just because I didn't realize that you were going to speak, but can you repeat your address for me?
Yeah,
for the
no problem. 318 Clay Street.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up, and in the spirit of, what James was bringing up and bringing more awareness to our community, and just really giving like some large scale kind of acknowledgement of the things going on. So I just wanted to say that it's important that we all acknowledge that it's both American Heart History Month, American Heart Month, as well as Black History Month this month. And as a community, we should both be looking to acknowledge both of these things because, just given systemic injustice towards the Black community and just the contributions to Black people within our community, but overall, nationally, we should be looking to recognize that in any way we can, but also just Heart History Month. And given that we're in the middle of a pandemic and so many people are afflicted by pre-existing conditions and been affected, that we really want to just, pay homage to what they're going through in their time of need during this time.
Both excellent points, Courtney. Thank you.
Thank you.
And hopefully, as we move forward, that's more of what the HRC can help with the Borough Council and the mayor. Make sure that we're on top of all the things like that we can acknowledge and make sure that they're not forgotten or overlooked. Anyone else?
I'll repeat myself that I don't see anyone else at this point.
All right, then I will close audience comments and read that the Borough Council will be entering an executive session. The public will be excluded from this portion of the meeting to permit the council to consider matters appropriate for discussion in such a session. The Borough Council will convene in private. At this time, I'd like to defer to Attorney Vignolo for an explanation of the subject matter to be discussed and for the record, if there will be any action taken.
The discussion will be pending litigation and there will be no action taken.
Thank you.
You got it.
So we'll need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Council President Farkas, second by Councilman Ligotti to approve Resolution 066-2021 to move into an executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Or is it a roll call?
Aye.
It's a roll call really quick.
Okay. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Thank you. Council President Farkas,
Aye.
Councilman Dick, oh, no, what, again? Councilman Ligotti.
That's 2 times you did that.
It's this last one. I can't seem to fix it. I don't know. Yikes.
Aye.
He did. So my Councilman Ligotti,
Aye.
Councilman Neubauer,
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell,
Aye.
Councilman Peretti,
Aye.
and Councilman Zambrana.
Aye.
Motion carries to go into executive session. We will go into a breakout room this evening, and anyone from the public, we don't really have anything on the agenda when we return other than to close, but you can feel free this evening to stay on because we're going to move to a different location. So
Thank you. Thank you all for joining. So you're going to send us a link?